Hello everyone, and welcome to the first of the 2022 Tour Series disc videos. If you want to skip to your favorite disc, I will put timestamps down in the description below. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the Missy Gannon Thrasher, the Tim Barham Buzzz SS, and the Paul McBeth Luna. Also, down in the comments, let me know if you like this format or if you want to see an individual video for each Tour Series disc. So, looking first at the Thrasher, the Tour Series versus regular older ESP, they both have that very slight dome to them, very comparable. I mean, they're both ESP molds. However, I did notice that on the Z and the Big Z Thrashers, the flight plate was noticeably flatter. So let's go ahead and take a look at the flight path of the new Missy Gannon Thrashers, and I have to say these are going to be perfect hyzer flipping drivers. You can throw it on a hyzer and it's going to flip up to flat, hold straight, and then hyzer out, while when thrown flat you're going to get this really nice turn in the mid part of the flight, and it still has enough late stability to fight its way out of those flexes. Additionally, when thrown on a big anhyzer, as long as you give it that height, it has enough late sneaky stability to it, so it's going to try to level itself out and fight its way out of those anhyzer angles. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how the new 2022 Missy Gannon Tour Series Thrasher stacks up against other runs of the Thrasher, first starting out with the Big Z, which I think is one of the most understable types of Thrashers you can have. Even when thrown on a hyzer line, you can see it right out straight, flip up to flat, and then almost immediately turn and hold that anhyzer the entire way. Now, I used a regular stock ESP from a few years ago because another stock ESP that I had for the Thrasher plastic breakdown video, I think it was just it wasn't even the same disc. It was a lot more overstable. As you can see, that ESP had this really nice big mid-flight turn and then just barely fought out the end. Z, very similar shape, but just not quite as much turn as the regular ESP. And for the 2022, it still has that nice mid-flight turn that you come to expect out of a Thrasher, but it's not nearly as exaggerated as some of the other plastic types. I don't think I would say this is the most overstable run of Thrasher. I really don't think it is. Honestly, I feel that the new Tour Series is kind of in the middle in terms of where it will kind of fit in stability. It's fairly close to the ESP, I think maybe just a hair more overstable than the stock ESPs, at least the older runs, but I almost think that some of the newer runs of ESP are quite a bit more overstable than these. So if you're wanting a much more overstable, go check out my Thrasher plastic comparison video, because that shows a brand new ESP, and my goodness, it's almost like an entirely different disc. So now let's go ahead and switch gears and start by taking a look at the Tim Barham Buzzz SS. And this was one of the molds that I was most excited to try because I feel that the 2019 ESP Tour Series was one of the best runs of Buzzz SS ever. Now, when looking at the profiles, you can see the 2022 has a slight dome to it versus the 2020s. Those were absolutely board flat, and I do think those were probably some of the more torque resistant or overstable runs of the Buzzz SS. So when it comes to the flight, I have to say, it's what I expected. It's what I expect out of a Buzzz SS. When you throw it on a hyzer, it doesn't flip up to flat and then just ride straight and then maybe get a little bit of fade. No, it kind of holds that hyzer, arcing hyzer the whole way. When thrown flat, it just rides absolutely dead straight. And then once you do kind of put it on an anhyzer line, depending how high you throw it, it will try to fight its way out. But if you throw it again low or hard enough, it will just kind of hold that turn all the way to the ground. Well, unfortunately, I don't have the 2019 Tour Series anymore. I did unfortunately lose it, so I had to replace that with an ESP version in this video. But we're kind of going to see what the new 2022s, how they fare against a lot of the other Tour Series versions, and then again that ESP. And honestly, I have to say the 20s are still the most overstable runs of the Buzzz SS, at least the most torque resistant. The 2021 has amazing glide to it, it's workable in the mid-flight, has still a good fade if you give it that height, while the stock ESP is definitely the straightest out of the box. It's going to have a little bit of turn in the mid-flight when you really rip on it hard, have a nice gentle turn, but then as long as you give it, again, a little bit of height, it's going to have a little bit of fade fade back. Now that's something that I was hoping the 2022s was not going to have. I was hoping it was just going to stay really nice and straight, because that's what made the 2019 so amazing, is that it had no turn or fade. They just went absolutely dead straight. The 2022s are not quite that. They are very straight out of the hand. They do have just a little bit smidge of turn, but then they do have a pretty decent finish. Honestly, it very much resembles the regular ESP. So let's go ahead and talk about what is arguably the most sought after Tour Series disc every year, and that is the Paul McBeth Luna. Now, the first thing that I've noticed about these Lunas is that they are very, very flat, almost near puddle top, which for my baby hands is great, because you can see the 2020, I can't even pinch my fingers between the flight plate, and the 2022s I could. So I love how flat to near puddle top, at least about the 4 or 5 that I actually have held, all of them are all very, very flat. But how does that translate then into the flight? And you know, it's a very neutral flying Luna. It is not anywhere near the most overstable. It more holds the line you put it on. Put it on a hyzer, it's going to hold the hyzer, maybe flip up just a little bit. Same thing, it's very easy to hyzer flip. If you put on a slight hyzer, it'll flip up to flat and hold really, really straight. And now when thrown high on an anhyzer, it will stall and try to fight its way back, but it's something where if you throw it low and hard, it is going to try to hold that anhyzer all the way to the ground. Now, when compared to, say, like the Crystal, and then again, the 2020 Tour Series, the 21, I have to say that the 2022 is a lot closer to the Crystal. Of the 3 Tour Series that we've had so far, it is probably the most neutral, maybe the most understable, unless you got a really understable 2020, as those were kind of all over the board. The one I have is actually very overstable, but I have to say it much more resembles the Crystal, at least in terms of how straight it is, but then it does have just a little bit more fade at the end, versus my 2020 is probably the second most overstable out there. However, again, it was kind of a mix of plastic, so there were some overstable, some understable, while consistently the 2021 Metallic Z Tour Series, that was by far consistently the most overstable run of Luna, at least that I have thrown out there. And as you can see, the 2022s are just so straight, so neutral. It kind of holds really straight, and depending on the height, it maybe gets a little bit of fade back. That'll be perfect for those straight tunnel shots. Alright everyone, that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to try to come out with at least 1, maybe 2 more of these videos, just due to the expense of these discs. So let me know in the comments down below which ones you want to see next, and I will try to make that happen. Thank you again to my sponsors, Discraft, Disc., and Riverside Pro Shop. Till next time everyone, keep banging them chains.